A lot to talk about. Let's begin with the Cardinals last night. Do you believe that will be the last start of the season for Dakota Hudson, or does it depend on what happens in Springfield tonight?
I think certainly if Flaherty blows up, which I don't expect him to, but if he does, you'll have to rethink things. That's one. Two, because of the way Michaelis has been on and off in his last 5 or 6 starts, will they consider going to a 6-man rotation for at least one time through?
Are you suggesting that because maybe an extra day's rest for Michaelis to try to get him right? Because it is 8 starts that are not impressive.
And it might, well...
There was a couple good ones.
There were a couple, a couple dynamite starts in the middle.
But like his ERA is in like the high 5s in his last 8 starts. Now, granted, the Colorado start.
One of them was Colorado, and 2 of them were at Cincinnati. They count. I'm not pulling a Howard Balzer. Well, if you take those games away, no, they count. All that stuff counts.
That is a 15-year-old reference that you and I got. I don't know if anybody else did, but it's perfect. Keep going.
They do count.
Yes.
But it's not like, oh, my gosh, has he got a bad shoulder or elbow? So could an extra day rest between starts help? Because right now, and I don't want to jinx it, it's not even September yet. I don't want to jinx it. You got to be thinking about October. Right now, again, you don't jinx it. You play every game and you play it straight. But as a manager, you got to think about October. So what gets my best guys best ready for a run in October? Could an extra day rest help that? And is it just one time through? Well, it probably depends on how everybody does on that 6-man rotation. But you could do it the rest of the year.
Yeah, I don't remember your take. I know Van Slyke's was... You do not count on Jack Flaherty at all.
Right.
Forget it.
That's me too.
Okay. As preposterous as counting on Jack Flaherty was 2 months ago, it's a reality now. And, Bob, as great as Michaelis has been, and he's been an all-star and been your best pitcher along with Wainwright all season long, I don't care in October if Miles Michaelis was your best pitcher in April, May, and June. If Jack Flaherty is Jack Flaherty, I'd trot him out there game 1 starter. Now, that is the biggest if of all time.
Well, you don't know when he's going to pitch it, though. What if he pitched the last game of the season? So those kind of things.
I think there's a reasonable chance, by the way, that they're going to have this thing set up. That, with this lead 6, who knows, it could be 7 by tonight, right?
And there's where the 6th starter could really help you. On the other hand, now, we didn't get to the third thing. The Cardinals are tired of Dakota Hudson's inconsistency.
Yeah.
And Flaherty takes a spot. So Flaherty goes when? Tomorrow?
Tonight.
He's
pitching Monday in St. Louis.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So if he went Monday, the current scheduled starter for Monday is Hudson. So you could just flip him out. So that's what we don't know. Are the Cardinals just Hudson wears us out, the team doesn't have confidence in him, or we'll push him a day, and push everybody back a day and let Flaherty go Monday and then Hudson. But that's a pretty scary proposition when you don't know what you're going to get with Flaherty and you don't know what you're going to get with Hudson. So if you're going to bet, I think you bet that Flaherty takes Hudson's spot and you move on.
If Flaherty is good tonight, Dakota Hudson I believe won't start a game the rest of this season. Now, the guy who followed up Hudson last night is Jake Woodford. The ERA is now 2.16. Because he maybe doesn't have enough spin or he doesn't light up a radar gun, I think there's been an unfair portrayal of him. Yeah, and so, now Ali Marmol and the whole organization, they can't do anything but use him in big-time situations until proven otherwise, right?
I agree with you 100%. And then he's another guy, if you want to space starters out.
Yeah.
If anybody's earned an opportunity, we've seen guys, you go, he's starting this guy, fill in the blank. But there's a guy that's earned it, in my opinion, if you want to. But you're right. He helped stabilize that side of the bullpen.
And, you got him going, and then I know it was just one appearance on Saturday, but Jordan Hicks had that great first inning like he normally does, and then in the second he struggled but got himself out of there. And I look at Hicks sometimes the way I look at Tyler O'Neill, that some of these isolated instances make me believe and think, hey, maybe he's just taken the next step in his career. Now, maybe he hasn't, But I love Hicks's poise. I still believe in him in October.
Well, because of his stuff, because of his arm, you're going to give him every chance. Tyler O'Neill's had a really first 4 months of the season. Well, he did have that spot before he got injured in June. But for the most part, 4 months out of the year, he's been terrible. But because you've seen him be your best player, last year he was your best player. You say, we're not making this up. He has that in him. Let's see if we can get it back. And that's why you give him more chances. Hicks, I thought going into the year should have been considered for the closer role. He's got that kind of stuff. Because he's got that kind of stuff, let's do everything we can to see if we can get it back.
Now, can you confirm or deny your role?
I wasn't there.
Your role in the Cardinals' top two hitters in the lineup every night, Nootbaar and Donovan. Have you had discussions with Ali Marmol before he writes out the lineup? Because it seems like you were cutting edge on this.
Let's just say we have a mutual conduit, and we'll leave it at that.
That's what the great thing about this lineup now. There doesn't seem to be a debate now. I may be wrong tonight. He may change it. But he's going Nootbaar and Donovan every night. It's a lefty tonight, though.
It wouldn't surprise me if it was Carlson O'Neill tonight up top. In fact, I'm going to make that bet. Right. Milkshake?
No, I won't bet against it because of the lefty. Yeah.
Come on. And then you can go buy milkshakes for tomorrow's show. Okay.
The immortal Mike Minor going tonight. So that's a definite Pujols start, I'm sure.
Yeah. I think Pujols DHs. I think Carlson in center, O'Neill in left. Then what you got to decide, what do you want to do with your middle infield spots? Do you go back to DeYoung, which I think they might, to just give him some at-bats? And then what do you do at second base? Gorman's kind of been buried lately. I mean...
And Edman had a home run.
What do you do with Donovan? If it were me, I think I'd go Edman Donovan. I wouldn't be surprised if they go DeYoung Edman.
I do like, it seems like Edman has started to hit a little bit better, maybe less pressure, and he's done well at the bottom line. I just want Nootbaar and Donovan every night, 1 and 2. But if you're going to make a move lefty-wise, this would be the night. And if you're going to play DeYoung, because I'm not sure how many more opportunities, you may want to take a shot on getting DeYoung hot again if that's possible.
Yeah, I don't think it is. And
really?
I think he'd have to do it off the bench for me. And as I've said many times, I think his future in the major leagues is as a bench guy. For those of you who love deep dives into Baseball Reference, look up a guy from the 60s named Ron Hansen. Played for the White Sox and some other teams. I think that's who DeYoung profiles as. That's a bad grammar, sorry. But take a look at that. I think he's that kind of guy who could, have 10 years in the big leagues being a backup. That doesn't help me now. Now is what we got to talk about. And, I think if it was me, I'd have Edman at short and Donovan at second tonight. But I'm not sure that's what Ollie will do.
All right. A couple of other topics I wanted to hit. On the LIV Golf Tour, I thought it was really fascinating yesterday. Cameron Smith made it official that he is going to the LIV Tour. That's no shock. But I really was intrigued by the comments by Harold Varner III. And I want to read you these. The opportunity to join LIV Golf is simply too good of a financial breakthrough for me to pass by. I know what it means to grow up without much. This money is going to ensure that my kid and future Varners will have a solid base to start on and a life I could only dream about growing up.
There's no question. I appreciated laying out like that.
Yeah.
However, even if you didn't grow up under modest circumstances, it's business. And, we talk about loyalty, but, with big corporations like the PGA, most of the time when they throw loyalty in your face, it's a one-way street.
Yeah.
So let's don't get caught up in all that. I think that's a great statement by Varner, and I really appreciate it. I think the question is, the PGA better figure out how we're going to coexist to survive.
Yes, that's a good thought. And, with all this information about the PGA Tour expanding tournaments, having all sorts of gimmicky events with all sorts of money. It makes you think, wait a minute, that money was there, and
all
you
along.
were keeping it from the players.
Yes, all along. There's no question about it.
So
it's just like MLB players having to fight for a piece of the digital money that baseball jumped on early.
Yeah. All right, another topic. Serena Williams. Bob, as you being a former TV guy, you probably appreciate the significance of the cutaway shot before you go to highlights. I'm a big cutaway guy. In fact, I don't know if I ever told you this, but the reason when I was in Kingsport, Tennessee, making $12,500 a year. And
nice gig.
Yeah, I was rolling. And I was trying to get a job in Lexington, and they had an opening. And I sent my tape up, and it was the Cardinal Jack Clark home run game.
Oh, nice.
And they had a shot of Kerry Grant in Dodger Stadium watching the game. And my opening line of my highlights was, even Kerry Grant has never been in a drama like this. The news director said,
hired.
Yes.
Yeah.
He said, I wasn't wild about your tape, but that line got you the job. So I went from $12,500 to $18,000 right away because of that. So I'm a big fan. And whenever so the other night, I'm watching Serena Williams. There is a cutaway in the stands of William Jefferson Clinton and Dr. Ruth Westheimer. So on my highlights the other night, I said something like, how about, this is my favorite cutaway of all time, Bill Clinton and Dr. Ruth Westheimer. I wonder what the topic is here. So, and then it was loaded.
Well done.
Mike Tyson was with Martina Navratilova.
Yeah.
I mean, there are all these unbelievable. So this Serena thing is so great for cutaways because every celebrity is out there watching possibly her last match of all time.
You know, I think it's getting ready to drop today or tomorrow. Your friend and mine, Dr. Ricklehmann, has a podcast on Claibs Online that's dropping today or tomorrow. Ricklehmann this afternoon.
This is the first one?
This will be the first episode. A couple of episodes in, though, he talks about Serena and the way some games have changed and how tennis, like many sports, look at track and field and those sorts of things, that power has come into those sports where for decades, even a century, hadn't really existed before.
Yeah.
Nobody in the history of tennis that was successful looked like Serena. But and she was thin, but she was a kid, a teenager. But as her game developed, her body developed, and power became such a huge part of her game, and it really changed. And what it means to young athletes, female athletes, athletes of color, not just that she's the best ever, but the legacy she leaves in all those categories is really impressive.
You know, it's interesting because the way you're describing this is almost like Tiger Woods.
Yeah.
The power, bringing it to parts of the country that had never seen it or wasn't interested.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. She's such an important figure in the game of tennis. She'll never be forgotten. She's the best ever.
Yep.
And changed the game.
Now, Ron Cobb, the great writer, the tennis writer, he remember he came on the other day and he talked about you could throw some other names into the equation and make a legitimate case. But I got to tell you, Serena at her best, I think she wins.
Here's what the only one that you can consider to me is Martina Navratilova, and you've seen quotes from her. She has declared all along that Serena was better. And then you go back to old-time tennis, Margaret Court, great player.
Has the most majors.
Yeah, great player. But the game is different.
Yeah.
So if you the best of an era versus the best of another era, those names all go out there. But it's Serena.